So China just built a payment system that skips the dollar entirely, and a wall just made everybody want in.
What if countries could trade directly with each other without relying heavily on the US dollar? And what if payments that currently take days could happen in seconds? And what if this change is already happening? Today we're talking about Project mBridge, a digital payment platform backed by China and several central banks that could influence the future of global finance. Now we have a video I'm going to be showing you shortly, but before we go into that video, I want to explain to you what mBridge is all about. Explaining this simply, it is not Bitcoin, it is not cryptocurrency, it is a payment platform. Think of it as a new digital highway allowing participating countries to move money faster. Now, the current members include China, Hong Kong, Thailand, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Macau. Of course, no African countries yet. Now, why is this important? Currently, many international transactions pass through systems heavily connected to the US dollar. And mBridge aims to allow direct settlement between countries using digital versions of their own currencies. And the potential benefits here are faster payments, lower transaction costs, reduced reliance on intermediaries. But before we get into what does it mean for Africa and what does it mean for us, I'd like you to take a look at the video of this lady I recently came across talking about mBridge. I'm sure it will give you a better view on what we are dealing with here.
I read the news so that you don't have to. So China just built a payment system that skips the dollar entirely, and a wall just made everybody want in. As you can see, this headline says, China tees up digital payment system to compete with dollar. Come in, let me give you some context. Okay, so for decades, most international payments have run through the US dollar and a system called SWIFT, the network banks use to move money between countries. So because the dollar sits in the middle of so much of that, the US can freeze countries out of the global financial system whenever it wants. So that's sanctions power, but China, they've built an alternative. It's called mBridge. It's been backed by central banks of China, Hong Kong, Thailand, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. And let me tell you how it works. mBridge uses blockchain so that central banks can transact directly with each other in their own digital currencies. So no dollar in the middle. So a currency exchange that used to take days is now taking seconds, and fees are roughly half what you'd pay through the conventional system. China's now prepping for the full commercial rollout, and so far mBridge has processed $69 billion in transactions. Here's the part that may or may not raise an eyebrow. The article actually says that China's push to widen use of its currency has been directly boosted by the Iran war. As that conflict basically erupted, adoption of China's own payment system surged because countries worried about being cut off from the dollar system needed exit, and they needed it fast. The thing is, this isn't even new. It started small years ago between Hong Kong and Thailand. Then the Bank for International Settlements got involved. That's essentially the central bank for central banks. So in 2024, the BIS handed the whole project over to Beijing. The FT says that was done under pressure from Washington, but the BIS denies that. But you can see what's actually at stake here. It's a system that allows countries to move money around the world by bypassing US sanctions altogether. So what this is a financial system built specifically to dodge American oversight. And it's gaining traction very quickly in exactly the moment that a war is making the oversight feel like a threat. Whether or not you think that US sanction power gets used fairly, this is what happens when it gets used too much. The rest of the world starts building exits. China just built a very efficient one. So the question is, who's actually in control of the money now?
Now, moving on to what this means for Africa, basically. Like if you're in the African country, then this will definitely be something you should be interested about. The potential implications, we are starting with the opportunities, because African countries trading with Asia and the Middle East could eventually benefit from faster payments, lower costs, border transaction costs, reduced settlement delays. But the challenge here is countries that fail to modernize payment infrastructure could fall behind. The future economy may reward digital readiness. But what does it now mean if you are a Nigerian just like I am? For most Nigerians today, nothing changes tomorrow. But over time, international trade could become more efficient, businesses importing goods may see changes in payment channels, and financial professionals need to understand digital currencies and global payment systems. But the key point here is knowledge becomes a competitive advantage. Now, what does this also mean for the Americans? The US dollar remains the world's dominant reserve currency, whether we like it or not. However, projects like mBridge show that some countries are exploring alternatives for specific international transactions. This is not about replacing the dollar overnight, don't get it wrong. It's about diversification and giving people more options. So as a professional and as a business person, whether you're a banker, a finance professional, accountant, business owner, entrepreneur, you should start paying attention to digital currencies, CBDCs, cross-border payments, financial technology, and global trade trends, because definitely it's going to affect you in some way or the other. And people who understand financial shifts early often adapt better than those who ignore them. So Project mBridge isn't just a technology story, it's a reminder that the global financial system continues to evolve. Whether you are in Lagos, whether you're in London, Dubai, New York, or Johannesburg, understanding these shifts may become one of the most valuable financial skills of the next decade. So tell me what you think in the comment section and how you think this affects you positively, negatively, and what it says about the financial future we are all going to be involved in. I'll see you in the next video.